welcome to Sweetboy Gaming. Today playing Skyrim. Yeah, kind of playing. I want to read for you guys. And today I was trying to instead of reading books in Skyrim because I never do that, and it would be fun recording it. So today I thought about reading biography of Barenzhia. Yeah. Every time page I'm going to pause because it takes a while. Okay, we start now. I'm going to do free, the first three of Barenzhia. I don't know if it's the fourth one. I found that one. I'm going to take that one too, of course. But now we start reading. Late in the second era, a girl child, Barenzhia, was born to the rulers of the kingdom of Mornhold, in what is now the imperial province of Morrowind. She was reared in all the luxury and security befitting a royal dark elven child until she reached 5 years of age. At that time, His Excellence Tiberseptim the first emperor of Tamriel, demanded the descended rulers of Morrowind yield to him and institute imperial reform. Trusting to their wanted maggot, the Dark Elves impoundedly refused until Tiberseptim's army was on the borders, and armistice was hastily signed by the new eager Dunmere, but not before there were several battles, one of which led ways to Mounhound, now called Almalexia. Little Princess Bernicia and her nurse were found among the wreckage. Imperial General Sumartius himself, a dark elf, suggested to Tiberseptim that the child might someday be valuable, and she was therefore replaced with a loyal supporter who had recently retired from the Imperial Army. Sven Advenson had been granted the title of Count upon his retirement. His fiefdom Darkmoor was a small town in central Skyrim. Count Sven and his wife reared the princess as their own daughter, seeing to it that she was educated appropriately, and more important, that the imperial virtues of obedience, discretion, loyalty, and piety were instilled in the child. In short, she was made fit to take her place as a member of the new ruling class of Morrowind. The girl Barenzhia grew in beauty, grace, and intelligence. She was sweet-tempered, a joy to her adoptive parent and their 5 young sons, who loved her as their elder sister. Other than her appearance, she differed from younger of her class only in that she had a strong empathy for the woods and fields, and was wont to escape her household duties to wander there at time. Barenzhia was happy and content until her 16th year, when a wicked orphan stable boy, whom she had befriended out of pity, told her he had overheard a conspiracy between her guardian Count Sven and a red guard wishing to sell her concubine in Rehad, as no nor or reason would marry her on account of her black skin, and no dark elf would have her because of her foreign upbringing. What shall I do? The poor girl said, weeping and trembling, for she had been brought up in innocence and trust, and it never occurred to her that her friend Deceiver would lie to her. The big boy, who was called Straw, said that she must run away if she valued her virtue, but that he would come with her as her protector. Thoughtfully, Barenzhia agreed to his plan, and that very night she disguised herself as a boy, and the pair escaped to the nearby city of Whiterun. After a few days there, they managed to get jobs as guards for a disreputable merchant caravan. The caravan was heading east by side roads in a mendacious attempt to elude the lawful tools charged on the imperial highways. Thus the pair eluded pursuit until they reached the city of Riften, where they ceased their travels for a time. They felt safe in Riften, close as it was to the Morrowind border, so that dark elves were enough of a common sight. Are we change book now? Be right. The first volume of this series told the story of Berenshia's origin Harris to the throne of Marnhowl until her father rebelled against His Excellency Tiber Septim III and brought ruin to the province of Morrowind. Thanks largely to the benevolence of the Emperor, the child Berenshiya was not destroyed with her parents, but reared by Count Sven of Darkmoor. A loyal imperial trustee, she grew up into a beautiful and pious child, trustful of her guardian's care. This trust, however, was exploited by a wicked orphan servant at Count Sven's estate, who with lies and fabrications tricked her into fleeing Darkmoor with him when she turned 16. After many adventures on the road, they settled in Riften, a skyrim city near the Morrowind borders. The stable boy, Straw, was but not altogether evil. He loved Bertha in his own selfish fashion, and deception was the only way he could think of that would cement possession of her. She of course felt only friendship toward him, but he was hopeful that she would gradually change her mind. He wanted to buy a small farm and settle down into a comfortable marriage, but at the time his earnings were bare enough to feed and shelter them. After only a short time in Riften, Straw fell in with a bold, villainous caitiff named Therese, who proposed that they rob the Imperial Commandant's house in the central part of the city. Therese said that he had a client, a traitor to the Empire, who would pay well for any information they could gather there. Barenzhia happened to overhear this plan and was appalled. She stole away from the room and walked the streets of Riften in desperation, torn between her loyalty to the Empire and her love for her friends. In the end, loyalty to the Empire prevailed over personal friendship, and she approached the Commandant's house, revealed her true identity, and warned him of her friend's plan. The Commandant listened to her tale, praised her courage, and assured her that no harm would come to her. He was none other than General Samaticus, who had been scouring the countryside in search of her since her disappearance, and had just arrived in Riften. Not in pursuit, he took her into his custody and informed her that, far from being sent away to be sold, she was to be reinstated as the Queen of Mornhowl as soon as she turned 18. Until that time, she was to live with the Septim family in the newly built Imperial City, where she would learn something of government and be presented at the Imperial Court. At the Imperial City, Berenshiya befriended this Emperor Tiber Septim during the middle years of his reign. Tiber's children, particularly his eldest son and High Pelagius, came to love her as a sister. The ballads of the day praised her beauty, chastity, wit, and learning. On her 18th birthday, the entire Imperial City turned out to watch her farewell procession preliminary to her return to her native land. So full as they were at her departure, all knew that she was ready for her glorious destiny as sovereign of the kingdom of Mornhowl. In the second volume of the series, it was told how Berenshiya was kindly welcomed to the newly constructed Imperial City by the Emperor Tiber Septim and his family, who treated her like a long-lost daughter. During her almost 1 year stay, after several happy months learning her as vassal queen under the Empire, the Imperial General escorted her to Mornhowl, where she took up her duties as queen of her people under his wise guidance. Gradually they came to love one another and were married and crowned in a splendid ceremony at which the Emperor himself officiated. After several hundred years of marriage, a son, Helsef, was born to the royal couple. Amid celebration and joyous prayer, although it was not publicly known at the time, it was shortly before this blessed event that the staff of Chaos had been stolen from Sion Place deep in the Mornhowl mines by a clever enigmatic bard known only as the Nightingale. 8 years after Helsif's birth, Barencia bore a daughter, Morgia, named after Sumaka's mother, and the royal couple's joy seemed complete. Alot shortly after that, relations with the empire mysteriously deteriorated, leading to much civil unrest in Monhol. After fruitless investigation and attempts at reconciliation in despair, took her young children and traveled to the imperial city herself to seek the heir of then imperial Septine 7. Symmachus remained in Monhol to deal with the grumbling peasants and annoyed nobility and do what he could to stave off an impending insurrection. During her audience with the Emperor, Berensha, through her magical arts, came to reassure her and that this so-called emperor was an impostor, none other than the Bard Nightingale, who had stolen the Staff of Chaos. Exercising great self-control, she concealed this realization from Anna. That evening, news came that Symmachus had fallen in battle with the revolted pieces of Morhol, and that the kingdom had been taken over by the rebels. Berincha at this point did not know where to seek help or from whom. The gods, that faithful knight, were evidently looking out for her as if in redress of her loss. King Edward of High Rock, an old friend of Uriel Septon and Symmachus, came by on a social call. He comforted her, pledged his friendship, and furthermore confirmed her suspicions that the Emperor was indeed a fraud and none other than Yogartan, the Imperial battle mage, and one of the Nightingale's many alter egos. Tonight supposedly retired into seclusion from the work and installed his assistant Rear Selman in his stead. The hapless assistant was later put to death under mysterious circumstances. Supposedly a plot implicating her had been uncovered and she had been summarily executed. However, her ghost had appeared to Edward in a dream and revealed to him that the true emperor had been kidnapped by Thorn and imprisoned in an alternate dimension. Thorn had then used the Staff of Chaos to kill her when she attempted to warn the Elder Council of his nefarious plot. Together, Edward and Bergen plot to gain the Fordhammer confidence. Meanwhile, other friend of Rhea's, known only as the Champion, who apparently possessed great albeit untapped potential, was incarcerated at the Imperial Dungeons. However, she had access to his dreams and she told him to hide his time until she could devise a plan that would effect his escape. Then he could begin on his mission to unmask the imposter. But she continued to charm and eventually befriended the Ursus Emperor. By contriving to read his sacred diary, she learned that he had broken into Abyss and hidden them in far-flung locations scattered across Tamriel. She managed to obtain a copy of the key to Rhea's friend's cell and bribed a guard to leave it there as if by accident. The Champion, whose name was unknown even to Barincha and Edward, made his escape through a shift gate. Rhea opened in an obscure corner of the Imperial Dungeons using her aura for power. The Champion was free at last and almost immediately went to work. It took Barincha several more months to learn the high place of all 8 staff, Peter, through snatches of overheard commission and Raglan's that tarnished one shadow with vital information, however, which she communicated to Rhea, who in turn passed it on to the Champion. She had Edward lost no time. They fled to Varus, his ancestors' kingdom in the province of High Rock, where they managed to fend off the sporadic efforts of Tarn's henchmen to haul them back to the Imperial City, or at the very least obtain revenge. Tom, whatever else might be said of him, was no one's foe, save perhaps Berenice, and he concentrated most of his efforts toward tracking down and destroying this Champion. As all now know, the courageous, indefatigable, and forever nameless Champion was successful in reuniting the 800 pieces of the Staff of Chaos. With it, he destroyed Fawn and rescued the true Emperor Uriel Septine the Seventh. Following what has come to be known as the Restoration, a grand memorial service was held for Symmachus at the Imperial City, befitting the man who had served the Septim dynasty for so long and so well. Barenzhia and God King Edward had come to care deeply for one another during the trials and adventures and were married in the same year short after their flight from the Imperial City. Her two children from her previous marriage with Symmachus remained with her, and the regent was appointed to rule manhood in her absence. Up to the present time, Queen Bertha has been in Wayarrest with Prince Asif and Princess Morga. She plans to return to manhood after Edward's death. Since he was elderly when they died, she knows that event Alice could not be far off as the elves reckon time. Until then, she shares in the government of the kingdom of Wyrest with her husband and seems glad and content with her fine, quiet, and happily unremarkable life. That was biography of Barenzhia. I think I say it like that. There may be many wrong spelling in this. Yeah, I know, but I'm not good at English, or I'm good, but I cannot every word in English. But I thought this was a pretty good history lesson about. I don't know if this is the game of Morrowind. I'm going to search up that later. Yeah, but don't forget to subscribe for more content, different content, of course, not only this. Give me a comment up what a book I could read in this game or anything. And don't forget me a like. And I will see you in the next episode of whatever I'm playing. Adios. See ya.